and inspiring entrepreneurs to rise, innovate, and create lasting impact. And today I have my special guest. He is the founder and CEO of Loka, none other than Mr. Joe Adar.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Luca.
Welcome, welcome, Mr. Joe. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yes, I am the founder of Loca.us. We help local small businesses connect with local customers with cash rewards. So if you have customers all around you, they live within a 4-mile radius, we are the best way to find them and keep them. So check us out, Loca.us.
Yes, people, let's about Mr. Joe Edgar. And today, let's talk about how mindset shapes every business decision. So, how would you define the founder mindset or CEO mindset? And in the specific ways that it acts as the invisible compass for every strategic choice.
Oh, this really matches the Loca.us mind frame because you have to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's going to go and start a business and have that mind frame and be an entrepreneur has no logic. If they were logical, they would think through their life and they say, okay, where is job security? Where can I put, all of the things I have learned to work? Where can I guarantee growth? And you would not come up with entrepreneurship. You would take a job. And so, in order to really step out as an entrepreneur, you must be crazy. You must be local. So it's definitely a crazy mindset to say you just have to do it. There's nothing you can do to stop an entrepreneur once once they have that itch to bring something to market. It's just going to happen. And so whether they fail, whether they're successful, that has nothing to do with it. It's just a matter of getting one of those whims out of their system. So the local
Interesting.
crazy mindset.
The local crazy mindset. So, what's a common scarcity mindset trap that holds small businesses back? And what does the abundant mindset alternative look like in practice?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, a local business versus a scale of business are two different things, and they both take a similar mindset. So
Uh-huh.
I think it's really more of what your objectives are. Not everybody wants to build a business that scales. In fact, most don't. If you want to grow just local honey, you may not want a big scale of business. You may just want something that you can manage, do on the weekends, and enjoy things. A scalable business comes with a lot of headaches that many people don't want. And one of the worst ones is the whole point of the business is that it can live without you. And a local, manageable business really is, made to only exist while you're there. Average local small business, the founder's gone for 2 weeks, it goes out of business. But big scalable businesses, the whole idea is that you aren't there anymore, that you can leave. And so it's sad. If you build a business, scalable businesses have to, just be prepared that their baby is no longer going to be theirs in the future. So it really matters on what you want to, what you need to do, but probably a similar mindset.
A similar mindset. I like that. Excuse me. So, how does a leader's core believe about human nature?
Human nature, I would
Yes.
say, the real human nature is everyone's an entrepreneur. As George Bush once said, the French don't have a word for entrepreneur. And the whole point being entrepreneur is a French word. Um, but I grew up on a poor reservation, and on the reservation, everybody works. You're just trying to stay alive. You're trying to survive. So humankind is in existence because they constantly were trying to stay alive. They were trying to survive. So, with that mindset, that's really what the entrepreneur is. It is trying to figure out a way, to stay ahead and not fall under. So that's, if you travel around the world, in some places that means growing a garden, growing your own food, canning it in
Mhm.
the winter, cutting down trees and building your own house, or laying and warming bricks and building your own house. And so it means something different, all over the place, but that is the entrepreneur mindset. It's literally surviving, figuring out how to create something out of nothing.
Can you give an example of how a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset directly impacts the company's approach to innovation and training, Mr.
Y-
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, a fixed mindset. I'm implying that, I take it that you're thinking that's not a great thing, but most fixed mindsets are built within, the space of which they're given. A great example of that is a lot of property management companies. Property management companies are very archaic. It's the second oldest business in history.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're working in real estate, it's just been around for so long. There's not a lot of innovation that you need to bring to it. You can do it just standard. But if you really want to take it to the next level, and that is grow, well, now you got to embrace quite a few things. Some of that is software, and now some of that is even AI, to where you can have teams who help you make phone calls. You have faster ways to move money. You have faster connections to work on maintenance. And so that's just one example where you could continuously run a business on a fixed mindset and have it, with little growth, but it still sustain you. Or if you really want to grow it into the next level, you do really have to start thinking about the new innovations that are around you, and that's how you can innovate.
The new innovation on mindset and action and decision making. How does a problem oriented mindset lead to completely different decision than opportunity focus mindset when facing the same market challenge?
Well, I would say that's on anything in life. Whatever you put your mind to, then it's going to match that with what you expect the outcome to be. So if you are simply just thinking, I want to grow revenue by 1% this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then everything's probably going to fall in line for you to grow revenue by 1%. But if you're wanting to grow revenue by 300%, which most tech startups have the requirement of doing, so you can see the difference between growing by 1% and growing by 300%. And if you're going to grow by 300%, it's going to take a lot of work. You're going to need a team that can back you up. You have to trust your team, and you have to have a very large appetite and very large vision of where you can take a company, because those are two different things. But you have to have a mindset that you believe that you can actually get there. And in doing that, then you have to, prepare yourself. And so if you say, okay, I believe we can really do 300, percent growth, then you have to back up and say, all right, how are we going to get there? What's step one? What's step two? What's step three? I need to execute on these. And then you really have to push yourself to, execute, and you need a team that can back you up and get you there. Otherwise, you can, go to the beach and relax and say, I only want to grow by 1%, and that should be pretty easy. So it's not just a mindset. It's really, you know, um, knowing where you're going to be going in the future, have a belief that you're going to get there, but most assuredly have faith in your own self to then execute what you now believe in.
Yes. In a crisis, protect the institution at all costs. Mindset leads to one set of actions, while protect our people and principles. Mindset leads to another. Can you illustrate this with an example?
Oh man, this is really the question of ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough one. There, it comes up, I think, all the time. And I can give you example that I have had in my life. One of my companies that I built, uh, fairly large. There were a couple hundred employees. We had brought in a private equity investor, and that investor had their focus on one thing, and that was getting a 3x return. They put money in, they wanted 3x out of it, and they were going to do anything at all costs to get there. So the start of it was they got rid of all the great, prerequisites or the perquisites, the perks that the business or the employees had. So first it was healthcare became very expensive. Then they changed payroll to where instead of coming in early before the end of the month, and twice a month they reduced it to once a month, and it would be like 7 days late. And then they reduced time that an employee could leave. We had all unlimited PTO, and they reduced it to a limited amount of PTO. They reduced what you could do for a maternal and paternal leave. So they really crammed down the joy of what a lot of employees can do. And ultimately, the final straw in the back that led me to leave was they decided to offer bonuses to their large team of private equity brought on teams, but then refused to add any pay increases to the team that already existed. So that was me going out on a limb and having to take a large fight and saying, this isn't right. You're basically just reaming the company blind, and those who are actually doing the work aren't getting anything. And so that ultimately ended to me being pushed out of the company by the private equity firm. And so, I think that's just one of those things a CEO has to do. They have to make a decision of where am I going to stand? What hill am I going to die on? Where is the line? And you just have to stick to it. So
Yeah, stick to it. Definitely. And thank you for sharing that story, Mr. Joe, on overcoming a limiting mindset. What are the telltale signs that one's useful mindset has now become a limiting belief that is holding the company's back?
mm. Oh, scalable entrepreneurs have this problem all the time. We get set in that, we're the only ones that can have great ideas. We get set in the mindset that whatever idea we had originally is just brilliant the way it is, and it shouldn't change. And that's something we as entrepreneurs have to change. And that is, we should be, reviewing our idea constantly. We should be taking whatever it is, finding out what works, and growing a team that can help us with lots of feedback. Because I guarantee whatever anyone's first idea is, it's wrong and it's bad. Entrepreneur isn't so much about the idea they had, it's more about the grit and the perseverance that they can continue at it. And so continuing at it is really more about adapting and addressing the market. And that's how you're going to stay alive. If you continuously just push something that the market doesn't want, it's not going to eventually change. So yes, entrepreneurs need to really be and have an adaptive mindset and an ability to listen to customers. Customers are always right.
Customer is always right, people. So treat them like a princess, or, well, as a princess, as a king. How can a leadership team consciously audit their collective mindset to identify the challenge, the hidden assumption
Mm.
driving their strategy?
This is a fun one. I would have to say failure. Failure
Mm.
is the key to a great team and being able to work as a collective unit. The reason is if it starts at the top and the CEO is constantly, if they frown on people who fail, that sets the tone and culture for the whole company. Everyone in your executive team will now fear failure. And when they feel fear of failure, they too will bring that to all their direct reports, and it'll trickle all the way down. And what happens when you fear failure is that no one's willing to take a chance on something. And that means even when they see the right answer or they see something that needs to change, they're too afraid of the risk that they may fail, and then what the consequences of that might be. The CEO is going to freak out and be angry and da 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 da. And so because of that, you could have adjusted or adapted or found solutions all along the way, but you didn't. So as a CEO, you really have to embrace failure. When somebody fails, embrace it, enjoy it, celebrate it. And when you get that, you're going to have an entire team that's willing to experiment, adjust, and try different things. And all of that is eventually going to bring you a lot of success, because success only comes from a tremendous amount of failures. So you have to embrace failure. You have to allow it. And, one little test case that you can use to know if you're good at celebrating failure is, if you sit back and you see someone who's making a bad decision, the test is, do you stop them, or do you sit back knowing what's going to happen and let it happen? If you interfere, then you're one who's too afraid of failure. Even if you know what's going to happen, you should sit back and allow it to happen. That fail is only going to help them now adapt and learn for themselves. And so eventually that failure is going to be a great learning tool that you cheated them out of. So even if the CEO has seen it time and time again and knows a fail is going to come, they need to sit back and embrace it and enjoy it. It's the only way to really have a culture that can adapt and really prepare a company for success. Other than that, it's left to one mind, and you can't really grow a company that way. You need everybody to be finding all the loose ends and all the missing parts to really, bringing a product to market and solving a customer's issues. And so the only way to do that is really embracing failure.
Yes. Embrace the failure, people, because you will learn from them. And Mr. Joe, what is a practical technique for shifting from reactive mindset to a proactive mindset
Yeah.
during a stressful quarter?
Oh, so hard. It's so hard to be proactive versus reactive.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious being that reactive means, you're just inundated. There's so many things going on. You're just spitting things out. This really comes down to a time management. So if you, as a CEO and a founder or an executive, you're really, becoming reactive, then you got too much on your plate. Slow down, simplify it, and that's the only way you're going to be able to handle something that is proactive. Go down, write a list. I don't deal in planners, but I do deal in lists. So every day I have a list of all the top things I need to do. So maybe there's 5 or 6 things on it. And as I do them, I cross them out. And then the next day, anything I didn't do falls onto that list. And I keep that list pretty simple. I also have time. So I like to meet with entrepreneurs, but I can't do it every day. Can't even do it every week. So I leave a time open for once a month during a couple hours that entrepreneurs reach out to me and I'll say, hey, yeah, I meet you. And these are my times that I can do it. I like to stay up on certain news. So for an hour a day, I just read and research the industry. So these are just some of the things you can have your day planned out. You can have a month somewhat planned out with lots of flexibility. And that helps you kind of organize a simple schedule and running a list. And from there, you should have on your priority list are some of the things that are top concerns. So it's not just something you have to do, but something you have to solve. And so that could be, there's a lot of changes in AI adaptation. So maybe you want to research and figure out what's the best way you can put AI, and that becomes something on your list, and it stays on your list for a while. And so that's a goal you're going to accomplish over the next month. And it gives you now time. You have time during the day that you're going to set aside 30 to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and you're just going to research and create a plan on how to implement that. And then once you do, that's the next thing you can now bring to your team. And your team's going to have their own input. And so pretty soon you've crafted an entire idea and you went from being reactive to now proactive and how you're going to, implement something. It's really just about time management.
Time management, indeed, on mindset and company culture. How does the top leadership mindset about failure? Is it a disaster to be punished or a lesson to be learned, cascade down to affect every team's willingness to experiment?
Mm, yes, I mean, as I said before, failure is something you definitely have to embrace, and it should be part of the culture. Culture is really hard because you can't control culture. Culture is what it is. You can be positive, you can be supportive to your team members, 99% of the time.
Mm,
And just one time you mess up and you get angry and you scream at someone, and it destroys 99%
everything.
of your work. And
Yes.
that's why it's so hard. And then it becomes your culture, becomes that 1%. It's just such a tough thing. Everybody wants to control culture, but the more you try to control it, the worse it gets. So that means you have a negative culture if you're trying to control it. So you really can't. It is what it is. It's what people take from it. So the best thing you can do, you have to be patient, but you really have to allow people to fail. And to dig in a little deeper into what that is, allowing people to fail, it means you're going to trust your team members. You're going to trust them because you're going to allow them the flexibility to fail. And that trust that you're giving them from allowing that failure becomes the cultural, heartbeat that really syncs everyone together. It's that, hey, you did something off, and that's okay. It's okay. You did something, and eventually they're going to have enough faith in you now because you trusted them, that they're going to produce and come up with ideas far beyond anything you could have. So instead of running a Nazi type, army that has one director and soldiers, you're really creating an entire machine, an organic material where everyone's communicating and sharing all the various problems in and out, because your one objective as an entire company, a founder, an executive, all of your objective is you're trying to please a customer. That is the North Pole. That's the North Star. That is everything you're working for. Please the customer, continuously be providing them a better product. Listen to the customer to find out, is something, bad about your product. Do they love it, or are they just kind of satisfied with it? Well, that's a big one. If they're only kind of satisfied with it, why don't they love it? Find a way for them to love it. And so that should be the goal. And that really comes from, believing and trusting in your team. And if you do that, then they're going to fail, but you're going to know it's okay because you trust in them. And so, things happen all the time. And so that could be they launch a product and it's a complete flop, or they add in a new widget and it's the wrong color. No one uses it. It causes total chaos and confusion. That's okay. Eventually, those things are all going to weed themselves out, and you're going to end up with a by far better product because you have a team that is, watching every nook, and that becomes your culture. So the more you're patient and really listen to your team, that allows the culture to really breathe, and it's your team that run the culture. But if it's top down, it'll always be negative. So yeah,
Yeah.
failure is great to embrace.
Failure, and don't be afraid. How does scarcity mindset around information cripple collaboration, and how is it overcome, Mr.
No,
Joe?
I mean, information is invaluable. I mean, you always need information. So that's why I say I try to set aside, 30 minutes to an hour a day where literally I just read on the industry. What is going on? What's everyone else thinking? If you really put down what the startup life is in competition, it's crazy, because I'm a founder. I got one company.
Mhm.
Across the hall is another company doing something very similar. And then right next to them is another company doing something similar. There's three of us. So now you got to say, okay, well, what sets us apart? Maybe we're taking, a different angle from it, each one of us. Yeah, a little different angle. But then it's going to come down to how much time am I really dedicating to growing this, and how effective is my team? So if it's one person who leads everything, everybody just does what they say, well, then you just really have that one person's time. If you can grow a fail type culture where you embrace it, then you got a lot more people working at you. But it still comes down to, let's say the three of us competing, we're running 40-hour weeks. So I decide I'm going to sneak in an extra 10 hours. I'm an entrepreneur and I really want to get ahead of them. And, but then they find out, they see the lights on. So they start working 10 extra hours. And then I'm like, man, all right, well, I'm gonna come in on Saturday. So I'm working Saturdays. They see my lights are on. They're on Saturdays. So you find really this competitive information world. just continuously escalates, and there's no stopping it. And as an entrepreneur, that's one of the things you have to be cognizant of. If you think this is a job where you're like, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm one of those who just believes that, this is a joy. So then I don't work on the weekends and I only work 8 to 5. Well, chances are you're not going to make it because, and you should just stick to one of those lifestyle businesses, and that's okay. And that's why I definitely embrace any type of business, but grow a honey farm or something along those lines. The tech scalable businesses are highly competitive, and it really comes down to how much time you're going to get into it. And pretty soon you find out it's every waking hour you can put into it, because if it's just 1 hour a week that you beat your competition, well, that's 52 hours a year. That equates to 104 hours, in 2 years, and it scales and it becomes the difference in the end. And so it really becomes very important that, the time you're putting into it, but then it's also the quality. And the quality comes down to your question. That is the information. Are you studying the industry? Are you listening to your customer? Have you built something that you've really built around a customer? Are you figuring out how to get feedback from your customer and take it from the customer to your team, develop it, get it back to them as fast as possible, and have them be happy and approve it? And if you are still just a one mind dictator running a company, then you will, be the one in last place, because you really have to figure out to get to the customer, and you need a team to do it. But that's really the heart of it. It takes information, and the more information you get, the place where all the information comes from is the customer. So you got to figure out a way to be customer centric. And how do you bring in the information? How do you store it? How do you use it? Because information is unique. If you ask a child what they want for breakfast and what they want for lunch and what they want for dinner, they will tell you ice cream for every meal. But a child should not get ice cream for every meal. So that's why you have to be careful. A customer will tell you one thing, but it turns out they actually want something different. They just don't know how to explain what they want. And so I built lots of companies in that regard. And so example, Loka, when we first talked to the businesses, they said, well, here's the problem. I really need, if I could get Instagram to be able to show me who all watched my information, where they're located, and then be able to follow them up, this would be great. So if you were listening to what the customer wanted, you would think that they said they wanted Instagram to give you more quality, because that's what they said. But if you truly were hearing what they were saying is they have local customers and they want to get to them. And that's the difference. You really have to peel in to find what it is they're wanting. So when you deliver them this Instagram tool that does something, they're like, well, yeah, that's ice cream, right? It's like, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't actually do what I thought. That's what they said, but it doesn't do what they were actually wanting. So you have to try to hear what the true problem is and get to the bottom of it. And that's so difficult to do. And so when you deliver a product that, is not Instagram based, and you have something that now can engage customers and build you its own loyalty app, so you get a direct connection with the customer, all of a sudden you realize you've solved their problem that they were asking about, and that is, to the customer. So it's such a hard thing to do, to have that information and listen to your customers. It's hard to develop a culture that is listening versus hearing. I mean, my teenage daughter, I remember she said this to us once. We were calling her down, and she's like 13 and sassy. And she says, well, I can hear you, but I'm not listening. And that's really how it is, right? Can you actually hear what the customer is saying, or are you just listening? And if you're just listening, you're missing out on all the information that's really going to set your company apart and take it to the next level.
Very well said. Mr. Joe, very well said. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, and food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 and Love Letters, Movie 101, Music 101 are on fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101, second season of my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. This coming December, Entrepreneur 101. So, Mr. Joe, tell us what will be or what is the single most important mindset shift a leader can make today to a future proof for their business and decision making?
Oh, I think it's just the mindset of conviction.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have an idea, have the conviction to give it a go. And that's really the heart of it. Is entrepreneurs know entrepreneurs because they just can't help themselves but give it a try. So that conviction's natural. And if you're one of those who like, I just don't think I want to try, it's okay. You don't have to have that conviction. But that is, I think, what sets entrepreneurs apart.
Yes. Mr. Joe Edgar, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world on Entrepreneur 101. I hope you will be my guest always, every month. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, please check us out, loca.us. It's available in 6 cities, but we're expanding across the country into 20 more markets next year. It helps local small businesses connect with their customers with cash rewards where they can help them find and keep customers. That's loca.us. Check us out, loca.us.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Joe Edgar because if you support him, for sure, more and more booming business will rise. So, Mr. Joe, thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel.
You're most welcome. More to come, people. See you soon.